Okay, so I love reality TV, and I have ever since I was a wee child watching season 1 of Survivor. I've noticed reality TV just isn't as good as it used to be. It's not that it's not as good, it's lost its longevity. I don't think that the reality TV we watch anymore is built to last. What are the trends that lead us to stop loving the reality shows that we were stoked about in the early seasons? The first reason I have noticed so many of my more recently favorite reality TV shows fall apart is because they kick off with an insanely good idea, and then the novelty of that idea wears off really fast, and it's just not a sustainable concept. And the best example I can turn to is The Circle.
I would like to be perceived as a real ass bitch in a fake ass world.
The Circle is a competition show that is ultimately a popularity contest. I loved this show. On paper, this sounds like the most boring concept. Watch people sitting alone by themselves in their apartment texting each other. That sounds boring, but it wasn't. And I think it wasn't because this was the first show of its kind to say, how do we actually make social media a game? And not in the Black Mirror way. Obviously, ranking systems and voting people off the island has been a really core competition reality show game mechanic for a long time, but this one was new and novel. It was similar with like Love is Blind. The mechanics of Love is Blind was new and different. This social experiment that they still keep calling an experiment. The experiment's been done. We can wrap up this experiment anytime now. I think the results are conclusive. Love is not in fact blind. But in season 1, we didn't know that yet. We watched people go into these dating pods and not get to meet each other face to face and only get to talk and hear each other's voices and get to know each other on these intimate one-on-one dates. And if you get engaged, sight unseen, you then get to continue on in the show, go on your vacation, try to live together, and it just was so interesting. So these really great shows start off so strong because they introduce new game mechanics that capture our attention in ways that we haven't done before. So with a show like The Circle, they have this whole social media world to build off of conceptually. There's group chats, there's private DMs, there's profile pics, there's little mini games. Season 2, we get a fun twist where 2 blocked players come back and create a catfish profile together so they get to stay in the game. In season 3, they kind of repeated that concept, but instead those 2 blocked players get to come back as a clone of an existing player, causing chaos because people are like, which one's the real Margaret or whatever her name is, I don't remember. There were so many cool ways to play with that concept. And when mechanics are done well, small tweaks like that are really fun to the viewer, fun to the player, and they keep the show sustaining a little bit. But here's where you lose me. The celebrities. There are amazing reality shows that celebrities should be on. And then there are shows where celebrities come in to get some clicks, to get some views, to bring some fans in, and it feels so gimmicky. Because in either season 3 or 4 of The Circle, they brought in the Spice Girls. It's cute, but it became like the thing. And it's not just celebrities as players. It's when these networks start cross-promoting themselves. One of the little mini games that they played was hosted by Nikki Glaser. And I'm assuming if I went back in time, that aligned really well with her Netflix special coming out. What hooked me was the fun gameplay. What loses me is the celebrity gimmick. I'm looking at you, Survivor season 50. If I hear the words Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol one more time.
Hey, it's Billie Eilish.
It's Billie Eilish.
Hey, it's Billie Eilish.
Hey, it's Billie Eilish. It's the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol.
Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol.
Billie.
I'm not interested. That to me feels like when a network exec enters the creative room and says, "We've got Mr. Beast." And the rest of the creatives and writers and producers are like, okay. In a show like Love is Blind, the formula has to stay the same. The mechanics cannot change. If we can't change the format, what can we change? We change the cast. And I think that is the second reason that every reality TV show is falling apart. Go back and watch season 1 of every reality show that has ever existed. And just take in a big, deep breath of fresh air. There is something so raw and, dare I say, authentic about season 1 casts of these new shows. We're watching these people experiment with the concept of the show in real time. They don't come with any preconceived notions of what will make this show successful. They don't really know what this show will be. I remember after Love is Blind season 1, they were like, we did not know if this would work. We had no idea when we started filming if anyone would actually end up engaged after the pods. That level of stakes is cool. Because then instead what happens in later seasons is the people coming on this show have now a goal in mind. And they say, you know what? To get to Mexico, I gotta be engaged. So let me fall in love. I am not here to be like, they're faking their love or they're here for the wrong reasons. I don't doubt that they have fallen in love with the person on the other side of the wall. I think when you are enmeshed in this world and it is produced to create a very specific output, and you were cast to hopefully create that output as well, it is very easy for that output to happen. We have all fallen in love with someone after a really great first date. Or maybe that's just the lesbians, but we have all done it. They've watched the show enough times to know how to be on the show, and that gets so boring. They come onto this show with this hope of finding someone to love and marry, but still can't really be true to themselves because of the awareness of the camera. Their parents will watch, their best friends will watch, their exes will watch. They learn the formula, and it just creates unbelievable blandness. But I'm not saying they're like inherently boring all the time. I'm saying that boringness is a natural consequence of how hyper aware they are that they will be perceived by the public, by producers, and by their parents, basically. And they have to make these balanced choices of vulnerability to really lean into the show, but also not so much vulnerability that everyone hates me when they watch this later. So I think their boringness and their blandness is a consequence of that and how surveilled they are. But you also have the other camp of people who aren't boring. They're so toxic. The other lesson that is learned when enough seasons of a show happen, you know who gets screen time? The villains. Now we just got to talk about the villain edit real quick. The reality TV villains have gotten out of control. There are some iconic reality TV villains out in the world to the point where there's now that in and of itself is its own spin-off show, and you can create your whole personal brand around it. But the toxicity of these shows has become so palpable that I don't even want to watch them anymore. Case in point, Selling Sunset and Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. If you go back and watch season 1 of Selling Sunset, Christina was clearly the villain because she was just so comfortably mean. Yet she was mean about dissing the other women's clothes, and she was mean about saying like, well, I find her annoying. Fast forward to the most recent season of Selling Sunset, and the villainy is blurred. Now there is constant debate online of who actually is the villain, which I'm all for a little bit of nuance, and I'm all for a little bit of context, and I'm all for that we all contain multitudes. We all are heroes, we all are villains in someone's story. But what has happened in the most recent season of Selling Sunset, the villainy is like destroying people's lives. Rumors that could ruin marriages, rumors that could destroy careers. We went from, girl, why you look so ugly, your dress is from Forever 21, to I'm going to start and perpetuate a rumor that could make you lose everything in your life. Why did we make that leap? And how is that okay? And I think it's because the bland half become, the more toxic the toxic have to become to make up for it. So there's some kind of entertainment for us. It's the same with Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. It is like, let's wring every droplet of water out of the Dakota and Taylor toxic knot as we can. My point with this is that the longer these shows go on, and the more we study what makes a show quote unquote successful, the more people will be stretched to the fringes. And the fringes are either more bland or even more toxic. The balance is getting tilted all out of whack. And this drama becomes so hard for us to watch. And I'm not here for it. But ultimately, I think the biggest thing that is causing our reality TV universe to start to get upended is the exploitation of these people. The shows definitely don't take good enough care of these folks. The networks don't take good enough care of these folks, nor do they take good enough care of the employees who create these shows. All of that is well documented. There are so many great examples of reality TV stars speaking out after their run on the show to say, I was deprived of food and water. They just kept pumping me with alcohol. I couldn't sleep. I didn't know what time of day it was. I had a family emergency and felt guilty for leaving the show for it. And I'm talking modern shows. I'm not talking the America's Next Top Model expose where we claim that in the early aughts we were able to exploit folks and ruin their lives on TV for fun. That's a whole other can of worms. I'm talking about current day 2020s. These folks are still deprived of basic needs in order to create entertainment. That's a problem that really does need to be addressed in order for us to continue to enjoy watching reality TV guilt-free. But I think some of the worst offenders of this exploitation is you and I, my friend, us, the viewers. We have changed the way we watch TV. In the early 2000s, I watched American Idol every Tuesday with my family and then got to go to school the next day and talk about it with my friends at lunch. And it was like the cultural moment. We all shared this same experience. And that is what we loved about it. But now we binge it all at once, and then we all actually turn to the internet to find that community and that connection and see what everybody's saying about it. I watched all of season 4 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives in one weekend, scrolling Reddit the entire time. My brain was absolutely scrambled eggs by the end of the weekend. It wasn't just binging all the shows at once. It was then binging every bit of content and commentary about what I was watching as I was watching it. It's so overwhelming. The show is no longer the point. The online chatter about the show is now the point. And I think that's what gives producers and TV creators permission to create terrible storylines and scenes that manipulate us into thinking something has happened that has not happened. Go back to season 4 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and rewatch the scene where Dakota, quote unquote, stays the night at Taylor's house the night before she flies out to LA to film The Bachelorette. That definitely did not happen. It may have happened. We weren't there, but it did not happen in the way they depicted it. Y'all, we got to start watching this TV with a little bit more of a critical eye. There's this thing called the sun. And what the sun does is the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west. So if you're going to try to convince us that he arrives at the house and then leaves the next morning, you should probably make sure that the shadows reflect the time of day that the sun would be in. I hope you go watch it and just look at the shadows and use a little bit of critical thinking to remember that producers are always going to be playing tricks on us to try to get us to believe certain stories happen that didn't actually happen. They get to do this because the show is not the point. The online chatter has become the point, and it's exhausting. I'm not buying it. Hulu, I cannot watch Selling Sunset anymore because the relationships in that show became so toxic. But then the online chatter about the women on that show became even worse. Obviously, when I sit here and try to argue like we are the exploiters, we are the voyeurs, there's going to be but they've chosen this argument. They knew what they were getting into. They knew what they signed up for. I think they know what they signed up for. I think they kind of know what they signed up for. And I think they know, oh, I'm about to become a known person. I'm about to have a different relationship with social media. I'm about to get brand deals. You can know something and still not be physically and emotionally ready for it. So just because they know what they signed up for, why the hell does that give us permission to be assholes? I don't think celebrities, despite putting themselves in these situations where they're going to be ridiculed, deserve the ridicule unless they are actual abusers and offenders and scum people. And trust me, there are so many of those people out in the world. Let's spend the limited energy we have every day talking about them and the way that their behavior and abuse of power is causing harm to people, rather than spending that limited energy we have on talking about someone's Botox. I want to still love reality TV. I've loved it my whole life. I love studying it like an anthropology student. And the way TV is produced and the way I have to watch TV now just is starting to ruin that for me. I want to enjoy it again a little bit more. And I think I'm going to start doing that by like watching it with friends and keeping my phone in the other room and not feeling compelled to do what we all feel so compelled to do, which is like go learn what this person ate at dinner in 2017 when they were with this ex. Like that's going to hurt my heart and brain, not help it. I don't know. Let's bring back the watch parties and watch TV with friends again and just talk about it in the room rather than pulling our phone out and talking about it online. I really hope you like this video. I have many ideas that spun off from this video, one of which is going to be a whole commentary on the villain edit. So stay tuned for that.